Hello everybody, and welcome to 38 weeks to go. We have 33 weeks to go. How is everybody feeling? How was international break? Was it as long for you as it was for me? Let's go. So, this is a preview show. Right off the bat, let's start off with the absentees. As it stands, it seems like Trent Alexander-Arnold may not play. He seems to have picked up a knock, and he's quite doubtful, so if you have him in your team, be careful. Another absentee will be Anthony. He has allegations of sexual assault, and he will be taking time off until it is resolved. His teammate, Jadon Sancho, will not be playing as well, as he has been excluded from the squad following his disagreement with Ten Hag. There were images going around of Son with an ice pack around his knees just before the game he played against, I think it was Saudi Arabia. But he played the full game, and so if you had fears about him, he should be fine. Van Dijk is still unavailable following his red card in the Newcastle game. The first game will be on Saturday, and it will be an early kickoff between Wolves and Liverpool. Salah, in his 10 games against Wolves, has scored 4 goals and has 3 assists. This means that he has a decent return. So if you're looking for a differential, and you have him already, that might be it. Although, if you don't have him, it might not be worth bringing him into the team. Wolves have had a shaky start to the season, and of course Neto is playing very well. They just lost their boy to Man City the other day, Matheus Nunes. In case you've been wondering why Wolves have been selling all their players of late, it's because they've been investing and there's been very little return, and the investors got tired, and so they're trying to recoup some of that money back in forms of player sales, hoping that they bought low and they're selling high. So don't be alarmed if Neto goes in the next window, because I'm sure he will be one of their better players by that time. If previous history is anything to go by, it will be a tight game, and if Liverpool win, it will be by a goal. If Wolves win, it may be by 2 goals, but it's more likely that Wolves will be beaten, especially given their current form. The only trick now is, who will play? Nunez has been getting a start of late. Are you going to back him up? It isn't clear to me yet who is the top 3, after Salah. And it could be Jota, it could be Gakpo. I don't know how to measure it. Possibly missing Trent could be huge for Liverpool. It may hamper their attack, but then again it may also make them more defensively solid. It really can go either way. However, how Trent played in the last game was very impressive. If you have your Liverpool players already, stick to them. I think it'll be a favourable result for them. Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace will be a good game. At the very least, it's out of the top 6, so this means that Aston Villa have a chance to really play very well. They seem to be playing well against opposition at their level or lower, but not higher. So, I believe their wing-backs will be in for a return. Matty Cash, Lucas Digne. Watkins may be good. Diaby as well. I don't know if Leon Bailey is back, but if he is, he could be also trouble for them. Olise hasn't yet recovered for Crystal Palace, and because of that, they may be not so easy to depend on. In terms of an attacking sense, everything will be on Eze. Edouard got 2 goals last time out, and he may continue. Mateta was impressive. I hope you saw his goals. His assists. I definitely do not see a clean sheet in this game. So, if you have your attacking options there, get ready. Fulham versus Luton Town. Wow. These are two teams that both need a win. I'm backing Fulham. I'm hoping now that the international break has passed, João Paulinho will be back. If he is, that team will be solid in the midfield. This will be a great opportunity for Raúl Jiménez to score his first goal in, I think it's 28 games. It's quite an unwanted record, but he really hasn't recovered well from his injury in terms of a return to form. In the previous episode, I labelled Luton as the whipping boys. I am yet to see any evidence contrary to that, and I believe that Fulham should have this one. Manchester United versus Brighton. Wow. There has been so much negative energy around Manchester United. I'm wondering how much of that will affect their players. They are not playing well. Their players are doing all sorts of horrible things off the pitch. They just can't seem to get a win from anywhere right now. In one way, this could be the kind of game that could give people hope. I mean, Fernandes had a really great international break. In Cristiano's absence, he really had an amazing performance. Recent history suggests that Manchester United are going to lose. They've lost their last 4 games to Brighton. Having said that, they have also recently figured out that Rashford's really good on the left. And maybe Ten Hag is still discovering what are the best things to do with his team. Maybe Fernandes will carry on his brilliant form from Portugal. We definitely hope that Maguire doesn't carry his recent form. And just to clarify, I know Man United beat Brighton on penalties, but I'm counting in the league. Brighton are in good form. I expect them to carry on with their good form, so I expect them to score. Manchester United don't have the discipline that West Ham have in terms of the counter-attack. And so at the very least, both teams will score. That's how I think it will go. I think Brighton are the better team, given their recent form and recent head-to-head. And so, if you manage to choose the right Brighton attacking assets, you may get a return. As for Man United, I'm hoping for Rashford. Tottenham versus Sheffield. This is going to be a very important game. I believe that Son will make or break this Premier League weekend. I think he's going to be the biggest differential, especially or particularly if he is played through the centre as he did last weekend. Sheffield will not know what hit them. I do not believe they'll be able to contain him. And I believe if you have him and he plays as a striker, he will deliver. It'll just be a matter of how many, not if. That's how strongly I believe in what I saw from Tottenham the last game. I wanted to bring him into my team, but they have Arsenal and another difficult game next, and I didn't want to do that. However, if he does score again, I may have to reconsider. Archer is now the cheapest, best striker in the Fantasy Premier League at 4.5. As he showed on his debut, if he has chances, he will score. If you have 4.5, he may be somebody worth looking into. Sheffield, unlike Luton, have more fight in them, like they should against City. So I actually thought Haaland would destroy this team, but it didn't go that way. And so maybe Sheffield have the potential to spoil the party. I really hope they do, because I'm not going to bring in Son, but I honestly believe he will be a key player this weekend. Richarlison said he's going to see a shrink to see if he can talk himself into form or something like that, because if you watch the Brazil highlights, he was bad. He was even crying when he was out. He has let him affect him. I mean, he has let everything that has happened on the pitch affect him. I can see Sheffield getting a consolation or just a random goal as he did against City. I think they always have potential to score. I expect Maddison to play really well. He has been a really outstanding midfielder so far, and he has been playing in Tottenham like he has been there all his life. You'd think he's Harry Kane's little brother. Moving on to West Ham versus Man City. This is going to be an interesting game. This is the kind of game that makes you wonder if Pep will be back. After how I watched West Ham dismantle Brighton, I could easily see them soaking up pressure and just beating Man City on the counter. The way they soak up pressure and leave the wings open. In one sense, it could be a great time for Man City to use Haaland's aerial prowess, but it may really kill their midfield. I wouldn't be shocked if this is a 1-0 to Man City. Now, it begs a question. Will Haaland be a captain? He has got 3 goals in the last 2 games he played against them, and Man City won, keeping a clean sheet in both of those games. However, I just feel like West Ham were a bit unlucky last season, and they seem to be a more cohesive team this time round. And there's something about that guy they signed. I think it's called Edson Alvarez in the midfield. He really seems to be Joao Palhinha-like. And it'll be an interesting contest for sure. Of course, I'm hoping for Haaland to have 5 goals because he's going to be my captain. But I wouldn't rule out some Paqueta, Bowen, James Ward-Prowse combination stealing the game or just creating trouble. Newcastle versus Brentford. For all of us who have been holding Newcastle players, it feels like the season is just about to start. They're about to get on a run of easier games. They have had a difficult start. And this is going to be a much needed reprieve from the humbling that has been the opening first few game weeks. They have just been shown that they aren't where they thought they were. It's always good to be humbled. Memento mori. Newcastle's defense hasn't been what it was, but however they have been kinda solid as well. It's quite weird, I don't know how to describe it. Even though they have conceded and they have lost, they are defending well. 6.5 man Mr. Trippier has been on my bench this whole time. I'm wondering if it's about time to dust him off the bench and give him a role in the starting lineup. Maybe Isak will do something. It will be interesting to see. I am hoping for Mbomo to continue doing what he has been doing. I honestly don't know where this game will go. I don't have a feeling one way or another. Of course, for Newcastle, they'll be looking to show that they are back, but it won't be as straightforward as many of us are hoping. I am leaning towards more Newcastle people than Brentford guys in this game. Recent history has Newcastle winning the last 2 games, and so they will be looking very happy for this one. When it comes to the next matchup, it is Bournemouth versus Chelsea. Let me tell you guys something. Big chances this season. Haaland has 7. Nicholas Jackson has 7. Haaland has like maybe 4 or 5 goals. Jackson has 1. What does that tell you? Well, it means his conversion rate is low. In La Liga last season, his conversion rate was 29%. So far in the Premier League, it's about 6%. So it may mean that he is really struggling to adjust to the Premier League. And if you've been watching Chelsea highlights, he gets chances. I am so sure that Chelsea will concede. I am so sure. They have been so fallible at the back. So the question is, when you look at Bournemouth, who do you see as a goal scorer? Solanke? Semenyo? What are you guys thinking? Because I am convinced that Bournemouth will come with their attacking play and will definitely cause Chelsea some problems. I mean, Nottingham Forest did. So who are Chelsea? Another random stat. Sterling has had the most touches in the box with 49. Mitoma is second with 40. And Saka is third with 34. With 39. This means that Sterling will cause trouble. He always finds his way into the box. I still have him in my team, and so I'm hoping that they do not find a way to stop him. This was supposed to be Chelsea's easy run, and if it ends up not being that way, definitely Sterling will leave, but after Nicholas Jackson does. As Bournemouth are our newly promoted team, the matchup, the head-to-head won't make sense, and also Chelsea aren't even anywhere near the last team that played Bournemouth. So we'll just leave that one to be, but I think it will be goals scored on both sides. Let's just hope if you're like me and you have Malo Gusto, you're hoping he has 2 crosses again for Sterling or Nicholas Jackson. The next fixture is Arsenal vs Everton. This is an odd fixture. I remember they had the new manager bounce when Dyche came, and they won that game 1-0. And in a way that was one of the games that really cost Arsenal the season last time. Looking at the head-to-head, it seems like Arsenal win the home game and they really struggle away at Everton. This is a home game. The last 2 home games have been a walkover, 4-0 and 5-1. So this should be a high-scoring game. Do you have your right Arsenal assets? Do you have Gabriel? Now, I don't have Gabriel, I gave up on him. But however, Saka and that midfield should definitely deliver. I got rid of Nketiah this game week in favor of Alvarez. I don't believe Nketiah will start, mainly because Gabriel Jesus came back and he looked amazing. And I believe if they believe him to be fit enough, he will start, and that's the end of that. In case you were wondering, Saka had 1 in the last game, Martinelli had 2, and Odegaard had 1. I just said that so that I could mess with you guys, because now you're going to be like, who will I choose? Who will I choose? Good luck with that. Choose all 3 of them. As for Everton, I don't know. This is just not a game that I believe they should even be thinking about winning. I just hope they make it as competitive as they can. And now just look forward to the next game. Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be back from injury. Maybe Beto will be playing. Danjuma looks like he can cause trouble. They will try. But this isn't a Sean Dyche team as we're used to. He doesn't have the defensive prowess that they have. And so these guys will definitely concede. It's just a matter of how many. And finally, on Monday, the last game of the game week will be Nottingham Forest versus Burnley. Awoniyi, guys. Awoniyi. I don't know what that guy needs to do to convince you, but Awoniyi should be in your team. I believe both teams will score. These 2 teams play well, they play hard, they strike well, they take their chances, they create many. It'll be a lively game. I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 2-2 or 3-3. But then having said that, commentators cast, now it'll be 0-0. But I've also seen a lot of people having faith in Nottingham Forest's keeper. Who knows? I believe Nottingham Forest, with their 7 new signings, will be interesting and will cause trouble. I honestly believe they're favourites for this game. Company's men haven't yet quite figured out the Premier League, and I think this is going to be another lesson that they will learn from. I think they will get better. I think they will not be as bad as Luton, but they are trying to play football like Manchester City, but they just don't have the personnel. And until Company understands what he needs to do to change that system, yes, it worked at Championship level, but he needs to adjust it to suit more of a Premier League level. We shall see. In other news, Burnley and Luton will be having double game weeks. Remember that Luton had 2 games cancelled because they were home games, and they still had the construction stuff still happening. Now that that's complete, the games can be carried out, and in game week 7, we will have our first game week. But having Burnley and Luton double game weeks isn't the best, but it is there, and there's potential for differentials if you can find somebody in there. When it comes to my team, I made 2 changes. I got rid of my sub-keeper and brought on Areola because he's 4.1 and my goalkeeper was 4.5, and he started losing value, so I wanted him out. And like I said earlier, I lost faith in Nketiah's position. I don't believe he will start, but I know Alvarez will, at least for now until people come back. And so I made that decision to bring Alvarez into my team. I'm going to go with a 3-4-3 with Udogie, Trippier and Gusto at the back, Mbeumo, Rashford, Saka, Sterling in the midfield, Alvarez, Haaland, Jackson at the front. Then Mitoma, Estupiñán and Anderson on the bench. I want Mitoma to play. I'm just trying to decide who will sit. But maybe having spoken about Brentford's poor run against Newcastle, it might make sense for me to bring Mitoma on, considering Brighton have a good record against Manchester United as of late. So, what changes will you be making to your team? I hope this preview was helpful. I hope you make good choices and good changes that bring you many points. I will see you on the review pod. Until then, stay safe, make your team. Have a great weekend, managers. Bye-bye.